Hey YouTube, and welcome to another episode of Sports R&P. I know I've been out of the game for the past couple of weeks, and I just want to say I'm sorry. I've been busy with a couple of things, but that's all cleared up now, and we should be good moving forward. So, as I'm sure all you guys know, the World Cup is about to start in a couple of days here. We just had the qualifiers, where Bangladesh and Afghanistan qualified for the next round, and now we have the Super 10 teams set and the tournament about to start. And I just wanted to do a preview before and let you guys know what I think each team will do and how they'll perform. So this year we have two groups, 5 teams each, the Super 10 stage, where the top 2 teams in each group will advance to the semifinals. They'll fight it out to get to the final and then obviously win the World Cup. In Group 1 this year we have Afghanistan, England, Sri Lanka, South Africa, and the West Indies. In Group 2 we have Australia, Bangladesh, India, New Zealand, and Pakistan. By my estimation, I think this group is going to be the harder one. So let's run through Group 1 first. First, I want to talk about Afghanistan, who played really well in the qualifiers. They beat Zimbabwe handsomely in their final match, which was basically a winner-take-all, and they did pretty well, but unfortunately, I don't see them doing that well in the main tournament. I mean, with 5 teams in a group and only the top 2 going forward, it's very unlikely that they're going to be one of the 2 better teams. However, they do have a couple of players. I think Mohammad Shehzad, their opener, has been really good, and if he plays well, then you never know. And of course, they have Mohammad Nabi, a middle to lower order batsman, but he can really hit the ball too. So if these guys do well, you never know. But at the same time, I don't really expect them to go forward. I think that the Super 10 will be their final participation in this event. Next up, we have England. They just finished a series with South Africa where they started off well in the test, but they also had a 2-0 lead in the ODI series, but then ended up losing that 3-2, which can be good for their confidence. And then they also lost the T20 series 2-0 as well. So I don't know how high the confidence is in the team as a whole. For them to do well, they need their captain, Owen Morgan, to play well. They need Ben Stokes to be a force. And I think they need their X-factor, Adil Rashid, their leg spinner, to play really well too. If he bowls well, you never know if they become a bowling force. Then they do have the batting capabilities to win. But as it is, I don't see them going that far. Next up, we have South Africa. So obviously, England lost to these guys, so they are doing something right. But at the same time, South Africa has a history of not doing well in semifinals. They're good at getting there, but when getting past that is just not something that they do. So I don't think it'll be any exception this year. They have players like AB de Villiers, Imran Tahir, and Faf du Plessis. If they play well, I think they'll easily make it to the semifinals. I don't see it being a problem, but I think that's going to be their last game. So this is going to be the first team, I think, in the group. Next up, we have Sri Lanka, who absolutely played terribly in the Asia Cup. I don't think they have any chance of doing well. I wouldn't be surprised if Afghanistan finished above these guys, actually. They've actually been that bad. Obviously, they do have players like Lasith Malinga and Angelo Matthews, who they need them to do well to have even a chance at going forward. But looking at their team and the way they performed in the Asia Cup, I don't think they have a chance. I think they're probably going to finish 4th or 5th in the group. And it's unfortunate for their fans, but that's where Sri Lanka cricket is right now. The last team in Group 1 is the West Indies. This team has always been a wildcard team. They're made for T20 cricket. They're obviously not a great test team. They're okay at ODIs. Their entire team is made for T20 cricket. But even so, as a country, they just don't gel together. But it's not to say that they can't. They have players like Chris Gill, Darren Sammy, Bravo, Samuel Badri, Sunil Narayan. They have some amazing players. And if they all play well, they can definitely go all the way and even win the tournament. So these are my dark horses. I think they're going to make it to the semifinals. They're going to be second behind South Africa. So to recap, I think the order of Group 1 will be this. South Africa first, West Indies second, England will be third, just missing out. Fourth, I'm gonna say Afghanistan's gonna be 4th because they're gonna win their game against Sri Lanka, and Sri Lanka is gonna be 5th. We're gonna have to reevaluate their whole team after this tournament. But that's my predictions for the Group 1. Now on to Group 2, and let's talk about Australia first. They're a great team. They've always been a great team. Doesn't matter what format you play them against, they're always a formidable opponent, and I don't see this being any different. They have players like Steve Smith, David Warner, and Glenn Maxwell. I think Glenn Maxwell specifically is going to be the key to their success. For a guy to come in at 6 or 7 and score like 40 off like 16, 17, 18 balls, to have that ability is insane. And I think that they're definitely going to be able to use it. And I would say that they are going to make it to the second round. Next up, we have Bangladesh, who played pretty well in the qualifiers. Tamim Iqbal scored 100 today. First Bangladeshi batsman to score 100 in T20s, I believe, so that's a very good achievement for him. But at the same time, this group is just too difficult, I think, for Bangladesh to do well. They might win 1 or 2 games, but to be able to win enough to come first or second in the group, I don't see it as being likely. I don't think they'll be able to do it. Obviously, if they are to do it, they need Tamim Iqbal to play well, Shakib Al Hasan to play well, and Mashrafi Mortaza, I think, will have to be a force again in their bowling department, and he'll have to lead from there. But overall, I don't think they'll make it. I think this is going to be their last involvement in the tournament. Next up, we have India, probably the strongest team in the tournament by far. They had an unbelievable Asia Cup where they won every single game with ease. I don't think I saw them in trouble, maybe besides the Pakistan game where Mohammad Amir really got them in trouble for the first 5 overs. But after that, they've just been killing it the rest of the time. It was very, very easy. They were never in trouble. They have players like Rohit Sharma in top form, Dhoni, one of the best closers in the game, and Virat Kohli, who's probably #1 right now as of 2016, if you just look at that isolated. So, I don't know. I think that these guys are going to be first in the group. I don't think anyone has it in this group to beat them like twice, which you would need to get them second. So, I think they're going to make it. They're going to do well. Now, we also have New Zealand, who is going to be a very interesting team because they do have some good players, and I think they are well suited for the shorter form of the game. They have players like Kane Williamson, who can come and stabilize the innings, but they also have players like Martin Gupta, Corey Anderson, who can just smash the ball ridiculously. So they have the capability, they have a chance, and I think it'll be a fight for second between Australia and New Zealand. However, I think Australia will just take it, but I think the crucial game will be the Australia versus New Zealand game. And the winner of that, I think, will be second in the group. Last but not least, we have my home country, Pakistan. Unfortunately, as tough as it is to say, I think they're probably the weakest team in this group. I don't think that they have the capability of making it to the second round. I don't think they have the capability to be even third. I think they're probably going to end the group 4th or 5th. The only bright spots in the team really are Mohammad Amir and Omar Akmal. And of course, if Shahid Afridi can lead from the front, you never know. They are a wildcard team, a bit like West Indies, where on their day, it'll be really tough to beat them. But I just don't see them doing it against the teams that we have in this group enough times to be able to make it. So I think based on their Asia Cup performance, the team as a whole, I just don't think they'll go that far. But I will believe. So to summarize, I think from Group 1, we're going to have #1 team being South Africa and the second place team being West Indies. And from Group 2, I think the first place team will be India and the second place team will be Australia. That would mean the semifinal matchup, of course, would be India versus the West Indies and Australia versus South Africa. Both those games are going to be incredible because I think that both teams are pitted well against each other. You have the West Indies who can score like 200 runs in an inning, but then you have India who can easily beat that too. So that'll be an interesting matchup, and I think it'll be a battle of the batsmen for that one. And then in the second semifinal, you have South Africa versus Australia, where it'll be more of an overall team because they both field really well, they both bat, and they both bowl well too. So it'll be just an overall team game where whoever plays better on that day will win the game. Now, if I had to guess the semifinal matchups, I would say India would beat West Indies in their semifinal game. I think India's team is just too strong overall for anyone to really give them any trouble, or at least not the West Indies. And then for the second game, South Africa being the chokers of semifinals, we're going to have Australia get it to the finals from the other side. That leaves us India versus Australia in the final. I think it'll be a really tough game. I don't want to say it. I really don't want to say it. But I think India is going to win the World Cup this year. They're going to have home crowd advantage, obviously, which is going to be huge, especially if they make it to the final. That crowd will be electric for them. And then Australia is not the greatest team on these subcontinental pitches. Like, just historically, they haven't been the best team around. So I don't know if I can really expect them to win the final. I think they'll give them a good fight, but at the end of the day, India's team is too strong and too comfortable at home to lose that game, in my opinion. So I think India will win the World Cup, and that's the most disappointing thing I've ever said in my life. Well, the great thing is we won't have to wait too long to see if my prediction comes good or not. The World Cup main event starts this Tuesday, March 15th, with India playing New Zealand in the first game of the Super 10 stage. I think this year's tournament will be very exciting. I think all the teams are very close, and really, I don't think my prediction means much. anything can change. It's T20 cricket. Things change within the matter of an over. So it's really hard to predict who's going to win at the beginning of a tournament like this. I hope I'm wrong. I don't want India to win. But at the same time, let's just wait and see. It'll be very, very fun to watch. As always, thank you guys very much for watching. I really appreciate all the support. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and let me know in the comment section below who you think will get past the Super 10 stage and make it into the semifinals. Subscribe if you want to see more videos too. Signing off for Sports RNP, this has been Charo.